Welcome to the DVD about Scheveningen. My name is Ftacnik. I come from Slovakia. I'm a grandmaster for the last 30 years. And I'm playing this opening for quite a few years, trying to understand it. I will do my best to help you understand it as well, because I can't promise you will know or understand everything. Even after many years, I still discover new ideas, and, well, I'm amazed what other people with great minds and sometimes bigger egos than mine are able to create in this fascinating opening. Scheveningen is not an opening, it's a world. It's a central world of the Sicilian openings. Let's look at the chessboard and see what it is. This is defined by move d6, d4, and here we have to stop for a moment. What is d4? d4 breaks the symmetry in the position completely, and from the point of chess, it's not a very logical move. Much more logical would be c3, the idea to occupy the center with all pawns, but unfortunately c3 has the problem, as in all Sicilians, black will immediately address the weakness of the whole concept, the weakness of e4, and as you can see, there is no knight c3, knight d2, and, well, this pawn is so clumsily now isolated that people have tried to protect it with bishop d3, or even moves like d3, but then the whole ambition of occupying the center fails. That's why in Sicilian, people find courage to play d4. But d4 sacrifices, in a way, the central pawn, and when black takes, which he obviously will do, now we can see this position has a new character. That's new in the sense there is no symmetry in the position anymore, in the sense white has open center. He is missing the d-pawn. Black, on his part, has got rid of c-pawn, and black has much less space. That's the problem, and that's the definition of this whole opening. Black is constrained on 3 files, on 8, 7, and 6 file, but white has much more space, but he doesn't have the center, the pawn center so much, and black, with his pawns on d6, e6, and very often a6, or even b6, is controlling all the squares in the center, and, well, practically of the whole board on the 5th rank. White, on his part, has much more space and great freedom with his pieces. On the other hand, it's very difficult to break this setup of black, and the most important part of the whole setup for black is the pawn e6. This is the key pawn, and, well, if you understand this, you will understand the Scheveningen, and you will understand the whole system very well. E6 pawn is the central pawn of the position. It's like in the building. If you have the spine of the building, on the spine of this opening is the pawn e6. If e6 pawn fails or falls, then it's very easy for white. The knights are prepared to jump to d5 or f5 and so on, and black is usually in great trouble. I wanted to explain Scheveningen also from the point of view of how is it related to other Sicilian openings. So we have to go back one step and see that black, instead of d6, can play also e6. After e6, d4, and so on. After these moves, we get the typical Paulsen variation, Paulsen position, where black is playing with pawns on light squares and with pieces on the dark squares. One more move, and you will see that the dark squares in black position are all controlled by pieces, while the light squares are controlled by pawns. The funny thing is that if white plays bishop e3, black is only one move away from transposition into Scheveningen. This is a Scheveningen structure because black has d6, e6. So, it's like these are twins. These openings are twins, and they are also in the nature and also in the logic, they are closely related to each other. Another variation, we have mentioned c3, but if black plays Scheveningen or introduction to Scheveningen, he can also switch to knight c6. But after knight c6, white plays bishop g5, e6, and queen d2, which is called Richter Rauzer opening, and it's similar in the nature of a pawn structure, but white is using his bishop from c1, his dark square bishop, on g5, which very rarely or practically never happens in Scheveningen. So Scheveningen is typical for the absence of a white bishop on g5. Very similar idea happens after a6, which is a Najdorf variation, and here white can play bishop g5 as well. And after e6, f4, we have a very, very sharp opening that is called Najdorf. Again, the pawn structure for black is the same, but the bishop on g5 defines the difference that this is not a Scheveningen position, but Najdorf position. And, well, the similarity and interconnection between these openings is of such a nature that, well, if you understand Scheveningen, it will be much easier for you to understand other openings as well.